Hello class, we're going to continue to look at materials here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the windows in this because I want to talk a little bit about windows in theory, but also it's about how to change color of any object, but I might just show more of that in a follow-up video as well. So we're going to look at windows, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to, you're probably in some sort of your material box over here on the side is looking whatever segment it's set up into. But if you want to start changing colors, what you want to do is you want to hit this little home button. And the home button is going to show you all the materials that are currently in your file. And that's going to include things like that little woman we first deleted, that's Painter, like she composed of a lot of colors. She's going to be in there, maybe some components you dropped in, maybe things that you use that you no longer are using. So it's going to look longer than it would otherwise. You could hit that button right there and delete or purge unused, which is going to reduce it down to a manageable size here. Okay, what is happening to my screen? I paused the video for a second there because every time I used purge to unused, my computer would freak out. I don't know if it was the recording software or whatnot, so I just have this video back picked up from where I left off, and I didn't purge unused, but nonetheless it doesn't matter. I have the long list. You can do it. It can shorten it. I think it might have been some sort of connection between there. But anyway, I'm going to look to this gray sort of transparency color I use for glass. I'm going to select it. And I want to change it because I don't like any of the SketchUp glasses. So I'm going to go to Edit. And one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to make it much darker. And I talked about this in class, that if you really go out and look at sort of buildings, that usually glass looks actually quite dark. And I'm actually going to unsaturate it a little bit because I'm just going to maybe give it also a blue tone. You could have chosen the blue color already. Just give it a slight blue tone to it, right? Something like that. And then the reality is, again, if you look at windows, if it's during the daytime, a lot of times they aren't very transparent, or they don't appear it. What they really appear to do is reflect things, and we're going to talk about how to do that in Photoshop later on. So I don't really need much opacity, so I'm gonna bump up the opacity. And when I do that, I can say, well, now it's looking a little too blue. Actually, I'm going to take down saturation wherever. It doesn't have to be perfect because, again, we're going to do a lot of work with this in Photoshop. But I'm going to get it somewhere to around there to change it. And so changing the opacity or transparency, really simple right here. And changing the color, you can see how easy it is. And the great thing, we'll show this in the next video, is that this color trick will work for the brick, it'll work for the siding, it will work for the roof. So you'll be able to match the color pretty closely. It doesn't have to be identical, but you want to get it close to how you decided the color should look in the previous renderings we did of this, because we went over color theory and talked about what colors you should be using. So instead of having all these ugly colors, you can get it sort of set up nice. So we'll see that in the next video.